The movie begins with four friends at a pub, planning a holiday together. They debate destinations, Ibiza, Amsterdam, Berlin, but nothing feels right. They are not young men anymore, and they want something different. Luke suggests hiking the King's Trail through the mountains of Sweden. The group agrees, but this trip is not really about adventure. It is a memorial for their friend Rob, who will never hike with them again. In a flashback, Rob enters a liquor store with Luke, but a robber follows them inside. The robber demands wallets, watches, everything they carry. Then he demands Rob's wedding ring, and Rob refuses. Luke tries to reason with the robber, but the man will not listen. Rob loses his life in that store, and Luke walks out unharmed. The guilt of surviving will follow Luke into every scene of this story. Remember that weight, because the forest will use it. Now Luke, Hutch, Dom, and Phil hike through cold Swedish mountains in Rob's memory. The landscape is vast and beautiful, but the group is fractured beneath the surface. They share a quiet moment about Rob's the best of them, the one who should be here. But Dom, the most reluctant hiker, twists his knee on the rocky trail. The injury slows the whole group, and frustration builds fast. Hutch studies the map and spots a shortcut through the forest that could cut their journey in half. The group votes to leave the marked trail and take the shortcut. This single decision changes everything. But as they enter the forest, Dom jokes about bears and the mood shifts. They pass an abandoned vehicle in the trees, old and rusted, parked where no road exists. Almost immediately, the forest feels wrong, unnaturally quiet, as if the trees are listening. No birdsong, no wind, no sound at all, just four men in silence. Then Luke finds it, a large animal gutted and hung from the branches like a ritual offering. The wound is still fresh, which means whatever did this could be watching them right now. They agree to move fast, but the forest has already noticed them. A storm rolls in and darkness falls before they can find the trail again. Through the rain, they spot a structure, an old house standing alone in the woods. They break into shelter from the storm, but every corner of the house feels deeply wrong. Inside, signs that someone left in a hurry, belongings scattered, a stove still waiting. Bill climbs upstairs and discovers something that stops him cold. A statue stands in the attic, a headless figure with antlers where its hands should be. It is pagan, ancient, a symbol of worship for something that predates the Christian god. The group recognizes the shape. It matches the gutted animal hanging in the trees outside. They decide to leave at first light, but that night, the house does something to all of them. Each man falls into nightmares that feel too real to be dreams. Luke wakes screaming a name, Gail, Dom's wife, a word he has no reason to shout in the dark. Phil is found upstairs, bare and trembling, kneeling before the effigy as if called to pray. None of them can explain what the house did, and fear begins to split the group apart. They find a path and follow it, but old wounds between Luke and Hutch erupt into the open. Hutch accuses Luke of freezing when Rob needed him, of walking out of that store without a scratch while Rob lost everything. The accusation lands like a blade, and Luke's guilt becomes the wound the forest will tear open. The fight turns physical, and the group shatters further while something watches from between the trees. They press on and stumble upon an abandoned campsite, a tent, scattered shoes, and a credit card that expired in 1984. Someone came here decades ago and never left. The forest has been taking people for a very long time. Luke tries to hold the group together, insisting that rescue is coming if they just stay calm. But Dom's knee is failing and Phil is deteriorating. Something is wrong with him that no one can name. Hutch volunteers to go ahead alone, find the trail, and bring back help. He takes the compass and heads southwest, promising to return by morning. But the forest does not let people leave, remember that, because Hutch is walking straight into its grip. That night, something massive moves through the camp. Phil sees only shadows. Hutch is gone, taken without a sound, dragged into the dark between the trees. The three remaining friends scream his name into the forest, but the forest does not answer. They search frantically, but there is no trail, no blood, no trace, just silence and trees. Luke glimpses something between the trunks, a shape so tall it blocks out the stars. It is not an animal, it is something older, something that should not exist. But before Luke can process what he saw, figures emerge from the trees, hooded, silent, carrying weapons. Luke and Dom are taken, dragged deeper into the forest toward a place no map shows. They wake in a hidden village, ancient cabins arranged in a circle around a clearing. The people here are calm, organized, and they have been waiting for someone like Luke for a long time. A woman speaks to Luke, her voice steady and certain, and she begins to explain what the forest truly is. She tells him about the Jotun, a god, an offspring of Loki, ancient and vast beyond human understanding. The creature does not hunt for food, it hunts for worship, and the cult has served it for generations. In exchange for offerings, the Jotun grants the cult something no one else has: freedom from death itself. But the creature is selective. It does not want just anyone, it chooses. And it has chosen Dom, the broken one, the one whose body and spirit have already started to give up. Dom's wound is not just an injury, it is a mark, a sign that the creature has already touched him. The cult offers Dom a choice: he can kneel and be given to the creature, or he can be hunted. Kneeling means peace, being hunted means terror and pain until the creature catches him anyway. But Dom is exhausted, his knee is destroyed, his spirit is spent, and he has nothing left to fight for. Luke begs him to resist, to hold on, to give Luke time to find a way out for both of them. But Dom looks at Luke with tired, clear eyes and makes his choice. He chooses to kneel. The cult leads Dom to a clearing where the trees part and the sky opens above. The Jotun appears impossibly tall, its body a fusion of elk and something far older, antlers blazing against the dark. Dom does not run, he stands before the creature and lets it take him. It is not violent, it is a surrender, a man choosing to end his suffering on his own terms. Luke watches, helpless again, just as he was helpless in that liquor store while Rob was taken from him. The guilt that has followed him since that night surges up and nearly breaks him. But this time something shifts. Luke decides he will not freeze again. The cult turns to Luke and gives him the same choice: kneel and worship, or face the creature. Luke looks at the effigy, the same antler-handed figure from the house, and he refuses. He finds the cult's shrine, their offerings, their relics, the source of their connection to the Jotun. And he sets it all on fire. The flames spread fast and the village erupts into chaos. In the confusion, Luke breaks free and runs into the forest with the cult screaming behind him. But the Jotun is already between the trees, moving through the dark like the forest itself has come alive. Luke runs until his lungs burn, crashing through branches and mud, the ground shaking beneath the creature's weight. He stumbles and falls, and the Jotun stands over him, vast and silent, filling the sky. The creature does not strike. Instead, it shows Luke something, a vision of the liquor store. He sees Rob again, the robber, the moment he froze. The guilt hits him like a wave. The Jotun offers him what it offered Dom: peace, an end to the guilt if he only submits. But Luke looks at the vision of Rob and realizes that surrender is not peace. It is just another way of dying. He screams at the creature, refusing it, rejecting its power and its offer and every moment of guilt it has fed on. He claws through the undergrowth, branches tearing at his skin, until he breaks through the tree line. A road, a highway, the sound of cars in the distance, the real world still there, still waiting. Luke stands at the edge of the forest, breathing, alive, free, but the trees behind him are still standing, and they are still watching.